We see it everywhere. The person who seems highly functional on the outside, hitting every milestone and crushing every goal, yet feels entirely depleted and stuck the moment the world stops looking. We often look for external constraints to explain this exhaustion, blaming a lack of money, or poor timing, or bad luck. In reality, the drain on our capacity is almost entirely internal, the result of hidden mental toxins. These toxins accumulate as a slow, cumulative poison. Every act of negative self-talk, every moment of comparison, and every hour spent dwelling on past pain adds another drop of contamination to the system. The supreme danger of this process is that we normalize it. Over time, a contaminated, low-energy mental state stops feeling like a sickness and begins to feel like a standard baseline for reality. You cannot outwork a mind that has been poisoned by its own narrative. To change what happens in your life, you have to systematically flush out the clutter that's preventing you from seeing it clearly. Negative thinking is deceptive because it rarely presents itself as an obvious lie. It disguises itself as realism, offering up half-truths that feel like protective caution rather than self-sabotage. The mind weaponizes past pain by turning historical failures into a rigid, downward-trending predictive line. It uses what happened once to convince you that your future goal is mathematically impossible. A negative thought is merely a sentence your brain generated. It is a suggestion, not a final verdict. When you demand objective proof, its structural integrity weakens. If the mind can't provide evidence that a failure is permanent, the path to the goal remains open. This requires a shift in how you speak to yourself. Moving away from the passive language of a victim and adopting active, growth-oriented phrasing signals to the brain that the situation is within your control. Explicitly interrogating these automatic cycles is the first real step toward reclaiming agency. You are no longer reacting to your thoughts, you are directing them. Even in a physically silent room, the mind can be deafening. Overthinking creates a severe internal noise that persists regardless of your quiet environment. The mind is a thought generator by design. It produces ideas naturally, like a beating heart. Your only obligation is to decide which of those thoughts are worth your attention. Create distance through intentional silence. Externalize your chaos in a journal, and use slow, deliberate breathwork to signal biological safety to your nervous system. When you write these thoughts down, you move them from the abstract to the concrete. This distance reveals the recurring patterns beneath the noise, the core beliefs and identity labels that have been driving your behavior in the dark. If you have a foundational belief that you are flawed, your mind sabotages any surface-level progress. No work can overcome an unstable core. Lasting change requires shifting your identity away from fixed labels toward dynamic states of growth. We act in accordance with who we believe we are. By replacing the underlying identity, you allow your behavior to finally align with the high-performance life you are trying to build. A newly cleared mind is highly vulnerable. Without daily systems to maintain that clarity, the original cognitive clutter will inevitably return to fill the vacuum. Morning input control is your first line of defense. By protecting your mind from the chaos of external media and notifications in the first hour of the day, you preserve your baseline state. You must also practice thought hygiene and physical movement. Monitoring looping narratives keeps toxins from building up, while movement helps flush stagnant physiological emotions out of the body. Finally, adopt a strict learning diet and evening reflection. Swap shallow, dopamine-driven consumption for deep content, and spend 5 minutes every night auditing the triggers that affected your peace during the day. Transformation reveals itself in the quiet shift from panicked reaction to measured response. You become the person who can stand perfectly still while the world rushes past in a blur of chaos. A clean mind does not stop life's storms from occurring. Instead, it provides a resilient foundation that ensures those storms no longer have the power to break you. Mental clarity is a daily, aggressive practice. It is the process of cultivating a mind that is no longer built for mere survival, but for creation.